Criticism is something that is always going to be somewhat controversial to passionate fans towards the particular media being criticized. That's just the way of the internet, and understandably so. A lot of people like to put things in pedestal. They have this romanticized filter in which they look at that piece of media. They think of it as the in all be all, and criticism goes against that particular filter in which they use to view that piece of media, and it can rob them of the magic that that media gives them in their life. And of course, when you hear this, it's very natural that a lot of people are going to have a problem with you criticizing the thing that makes their lives magical, right? Believe it or not, pieces of media can have that much of an effect on somebody's life. And Genshin Impact is no different. Gacha games, even though they're just video games that sell 2D anime baddies, are no different. They can produce and they can give a lot of magic and beauty to someone's life. They can add a lot of value to someone's life, positively so, right? Of course. However, considering the the nature of the game in hand, considering it's a predatory game, taking advantage of the fact that you think it's magical, right? Trying to, like I said before, and I'll say it again, the closest analogy I can give to gacha games is they're like street workers. They pretend to really have emotions for you to make you feel special when the reality is they're after a payday. So with that in mind, when I criticize Genshin Impact, it's through that lens, as in be careful, as in for the predatory tactics, for the dev practices to be good enough for the free-to-play model they have themselves sold us on, and also, most importantly, to have the best experience we can have considering the modern evolution of the gaming sphere, because the gaming sphere evolves every single day, especially with new big releases. And I feel like games, especially live service games, should be keeping up with what's happening within the space, at least to a good degree. You do not have to up your graphics to become what it is now, but what you can do is at least make sure that their practices are on point, especially when it comes to features, for example, the skip button, or predatory practices to be less as predatory, for example, the 50-50 system. Those are the biggest complaints you typically hear. There's just a small reference there, small mention there. So I just had to mention them there just to get an idea of what we're talking about. If you happen to be one of the people that are very passionate about Genshin, that have that magical feel. And to be honest with you, if you do have it through Genshin Impact, I'm low-key jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I am. I wish a piece of media that could have that much positive impact in my life, right? The only thing I want is scary about feelings, typically for rational people and somewhat pragmatic people, is that it might make them blind to mistakes, and that's a scary thing. But besides that, as long as you can be disciplined enough to navigate the magic, oh man, I'm jealous. Oh yes, I am jealous. If you have that discipline on top, oh man, or oh girl, you have it good. So as we've seen recently, it has been really going down in the Genshin Impact side of the gacha streets because of the whole candy bug situation, and it seems that have sparked a conversation on how people should be criticizing media, if more specifically Genshin Impact. And the video title shows it here. The Genshin critique critically misses the point. Obviously, I'm pretty sure, considering how the time in which this video was released, I'm pretty sure it's in reference to that particular video. Also, we have someone else, a new CC, pulling up to talk about this. That's just, see, this is just a smart thing to do. Who's Malkin? See, that's just smart. Like, that's just how you do it. Malkin knows. Malkin knows. So yeah, I would not be surprised to see more Genshin videos from him. That's for sure. I think that's just the best way to approach YouTubing, if he cares. But he might not care at all, because not everybody cares about being a YouTuber. They can dabble in the hobby, but not everybody want to be a YouTuber. Believe it or not, right? Shocking in today's day and age, where everybody seems to want to be CC, right? Well, not everybody has that much fire towards the hobby to want to keep doing it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I cannot help but feel like this is somewhat policing criticism. If it is gonna be telling us how we should be critiquing the game, I can't help but feel like this is policing. But anyway, that's just Something I just thought of, but we're about to find out. Without further ado, Malkin Hat, you got the floor, my man. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to not miss any updates.
I guess I better go subscribe to VXV Gacha.
I think the way a lot of people approach critiquing Genshin is weird.
Okay, so yeah, we are talking about Genshin specifically, not necessarily just media. Okay.
Now, I want to clarify that this is my personal opinion, subjectivity is implied, and there is no right way to talk about art.
Okay, there we go. That's a very nice disclaimer. Talking about art, like any media as a whole. Okay, he has us here, that's for sure.
So I think it's how people talk about the things they dislike and the reasons they fixate on it.
Messaging is as important as the message. And of course, the reasons are that too. Of course, that matters a lot, but really messaging, oh man.
I'm not saying every critique has to be positive. I just want to avoid the format filled with shallow criticisms where at the end of the video, I have no idea how they actually feel about Genshin. So this is a critique of critiques. Yeah.
I was right. It does come off as policing. And when I hear that, that really comes off as policing criticism towards Genshin Impact. I'm not gonna lie, I would not be surprised to see a bunch of people calling him a Hoyo shield or stuff like that because of this particular type of framing. They can easily frame him as a Hoyo shield. I don't think he is, considering the channel, but anyway, when you frame it like that, that's some Hoyo shield energy there, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't think he is being a Hoyo shield, or at least not yet. We're about to find out.
Yeah, that's a little confusing. I'll try to keep this as concise as possible. I'm not making this video as a personal attack on anyone. I've omitted people's names if they've had a very specific critique, and I asked them.
Shut up. We know. We're deep in the streets. We all know. Shut up. Oh, I admitted that we know who you're talking about. We know.
But if you recognize these figures, do not attack them or mention their names in the comments.
Based. Nice. They're gonna mention them in the comments anyway. Hold on, let me see. I know, it seems that we... No, not really. Okay. I like that. Shouts out to the comment section.
We are allowed to disagree. I'm not trying to police what people talk about. More so...
Based. He knows. He's a few steps ahead of that. He knows. Based. Nice. I like this guy already.
So why I personally think some of it isn't productive. Also, sorry if I sound a little nasally. I'm recovering from a sickness, and I just wanted to make this video while the topic of Genshin critique was still relevant. First,
I like this guy. I do. Based.
I want to take a look at what people are saying and why I think it's being done in bad faith or incredibly...
I love the transparency. Like, it's so clean. And self-awareness. I love self-awareness, man. That's a trait that I adore people that are more self-aware than not. Oh man.
Shallow.
Sometimes you shouldn't be too self-aware though. There are levels to this, of course.
A common critique I see about the game is that it's just the power of friendship to solve all of the problems in Teyvat. While it is true that friendship is an important...
Whoever complains about the power of friendship can hug a tree. I love the power of friendship. That's my shit, ninja. That's my shit. Yeah. It's the power of a community. It's the power of the people. Yeah. We can move mountains together, baby. Yeah. That's my stuff.
Important theme of the game, acting like it's just a My Little Pony episode is a shallow analysis. Moreover, people use this as a criticism because the traveler isn't looking for their sibling. Genshin has been about connection for a very long time.
Yes.
More accurately, it's about...
The whole point of the gacha system is about connection. They literally give you friendship levels. Yeah, it's about friendship.
Deepening the connection with the world and the people in it. Sure, Genshin starts with the goal of find your sibling, but it quickly becomes much more than that. Many characters outright say this to remind you it's not just about the end goal. Venti says it explicitly.
True. I mean, you see this in a lot of media, like Dragon Ball especially. Dragon Ball starts as a story of collecting the 7 Dragon Balls. But then a whole adventure starts through just the beginning of trying to find the 7 Dragon Balls. And now it's no longer even about the Dragon Balls. I feel like for example, in Dragon Ball Super, the Super Dragon Balls felt like a self-insert just to remind us of, oh, the title still means something. It's still about the Dragon Balls. Yeah. True. True. He's right here. He's right here. We've seen this before.
Explicitly.
I love how there's like decent parallel between Dragon Ball and a lot of the recent medias, man. Like Dragon Ball is it's aging pretty nicely, huh?
Traveler, as you set off on your journey once again, you must remember that the journey itself has meaning. Zhongli also says it, albeit a little differently.
Well, that's kind of the thing about life, really. I mean, we're all heading towards attempt to try and be successful, have these things, achieve our goals in life. But I feel like the whole beauty of life is enjoying the journey itself. Because you reach the goal, you reach the success or failure, God forbid, that has to happen to some. Trust me, I know, I've been there. You reach either success or failure. Well, it's like, well, snap. What now? You know what I mean? What now? Is this the high or the low you're going to feel from either success or failure? I had the low, unfortunately, because I had the failure. That hurts. So it's either a high or a low. And we all know one thing about highs or lows, they can dissipate over time. And what does that leave you with? Well, the journey. Because that's where the memories are. And if you haven't been enjoying that, it feels like you were robbed of what could have been real, well, for lack of a better word, entertainment you may have had, an enjoyment you may have had through the journey. Even in the unknown. Because the unknown is scary. You don't know whether you're going to succeed or not. It's very scary. But this is the journey. Kind of like me right now. I don't know if I can be a big YouTuber or a big CC or a relevant enough one day. I'm not sure. It could, just like it may not. I don't know. So what am I going to do? And once again, even if I fail again or succeed, whatever, the fact is, the one thing I can definitely guarantee for myself as a person, as a living being, as one day even all this may be behind us all, is to at least enjoy the journey. So that way, when I remember this parkour in my life, I can remember it fondly because of my enjoyment of the journey. Because I feel like we remember more fondly the journey itself more so than the result. The results help us a lot, of course, but I feel like the journey plays a bigger part in that. And I just love that stuff.
You are one who crosses the celestial atlas, who passes through countless worlds. If our history is engraved in your memory, it will one day accompany you into another world. The journey of the traveler...
I love how Zhongli and people drop that on the traveler, as in like, it is the player and you will move to another world. As in, you know, you're going to move to another game. And we just want you to remember that you've been here in Tevat. I like that.
Is on has meaning outside of the end goal. And yes, that does mean the friends they make along the way.
I like the thematic of the traveler. I really do. Because we are the traveler. We are just here in Tevat for a bit as we are leaving it one day. That is going to happen. And I like that.
It sounds corny, but sometimes that is the real reward. This is something the game supports even...
I don't think it's corny. It's just that people are just trying to be, why so serious? Like, y'all are so serious. No. And also, the world, and I feel like more specifically parenting, I know it's a little dangerous field I'm about to embark on, but parenting really, really emphasized the more importance and more weight on results more so than the journey. That's where the origin of this comes from. That's why a lot of people have since shifted their focus on only results and not more so the journey, because the journey feels like isn't as accepted as the results themselves. So people just start to disregard them, and because of that, people start to look at it as corny because it goes against their belief system that they have developed through, well, let's just say kind of the norm nowadays in the system. So yeah.
Further, during Mulaney's
I don't think it's corny at all.
As the traveler themselves reflects that it's not just
I think that's what's up.
about finding their sibling anymore. The beauty of the world and the people in it have given it the meaning that Venti talked about. All this connects with one of the major antagonists of the game, the Abyss. The Abyss hates this connection. It hates this satisfaction with life. The Abyss represents the hatred of all alternate possibilities that never came to pass, and it loathes the happiness of the world.
Damn, they had some good developments for the Abyss, huh? Well, last I remember, we still didn't know what it was. We just know it was bad. Oh man, the Abyss is pissed, innit? It's a true hater.
The Abyss doesn't want to exist, it hates existence.
Hey, I'm gonna solve the problem for Genshin Impact right now. Hey yo, the Abyss, you need to calm the fuck down. You ain't that deep, man. You ain't that deep. Why so serious? Just relax. Take a breather, man. There. Relax. There it is. You're welcome. I saved Tevat.
It wants to destroy the world and reduce it to nothing. But the things that give the journey meaning, the beauty of the world, the friendships created, are the strongest way to fight back against it. The game is about the struggle of the common people against the ever-growing threat of the meaningless of existence.
Oh man, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. See, when he contextualized it like that, that is beautiful, isn't it?
It's about fighting back against those who would seek to oppress the masses and prevent their meaning in life.
I'm not gonna lie, like, see, here's the thing. What really pisses me off about Genshin is the story is so good. There's so much going on. If only they would just keep growing and evolving with the time, from dev practices to game evolution. I don't know, man. It's so sad. It really annoys me. But I love what I'm hearing right now. Like, this is a bit of an update for me for Genshin lore, and I'm loving it.
It's about defying fate and righting the wrong that's in the world. This is fundamental to the game, and it goes so far beyond we'd use the power of friendship to defeat our enemies, because it's about the joy of life, the joy of existence. It is so reductive to act like the whole game is just about the power of friendship. It's about why these connections with the people and the world are important.
Well, a lot of people just like to throw that like that because, you know, some people are kind of tired of the power of friendship trope, so they just do it like that. It is what it is.
Natlan got the brunt of this hate, and I hope I've explained why that critique is fairly shallow, but the hatred for Natlan goes beyond that, and it got really odd. A big part of that was the aesthetic of Natlan too. A lot of people who knew nothing about African or South American culture tried to say that it's not tribal enough, which is incredibly insensitive. This was rightfully called out, of course, but the first few months of any discussion was mired in bad faith, poorly informed criticism. It gets even worse when people willfully ignore the aspects of the nation that do represent a nation of war, and then actively assert that the nation should have been at war with itself, or that Mavuika should be a war-crazed tyrant who oppresses her people. That's not a critical analysis of what the story is, it's fanfiction. The reason it's considered the nation of war is because it's the only nation to have been in non-stop conflict with the Abyss since the Cataclysm and fall of Conria.
Oh, okay.
Culture of the nation has been shaped by it. Competition to see who's worthy to fight the Abyss.
But still, the thematics are just, you know, that they're not what you expect when you hear the land of war. If that is the case, they have recovered very nicely, didn't they? Where's PTSD? Where's war trauma? It doesn't strike me like they have that.
Large celebrations following victory. It may not have been the expectation, but
maybe they're showing you how maybe we should try and move on from war and PTSD and not let the past keep defining us, even though it's behind us now. You know, you take off the weights. Maybe that's kind of cool.
It still delivers that idea of a nation of war. We'll get to expectations later, so just keep it in the back of your mind for now. To act like the only way that it can be the nation of war is if it's at war with itself is such a narrow-minded and shallow criticism of the nation. The Fatui are another example of poorly informed criticism, because people have it in their mind that the Fatui should be all morally evil.
And no, they're anti-heroes, what I hear. I like the icon here.
Hard disagree on that, but instead of engaging in the discussion about why they would like it, it's just reduced to game bad because Hoyo rewrote things. The Fatui have been portrayed as morally complex since 1.1. It's fine if you don't like that. Sometimes stories that have a clear good and evil are really good. But Genshin isn't trying to just be that wholesale. And if you want a morally evil group, the Abyss is right there. Arguably the Heavenly Principles are too, along with the Abyss Order. But you don't see anyone talk about that. It's just the Fatui aren't objective evil like I expected, so it's bad.
So yeah, I think he started to touch on it too, and it's kind of what I'm hearing too as he's going off. I think expectations got in the way of enjoying things for what they are and how Genshin has delivered them. It has, our expectations got in the way of us enjoying these things. Yeah, that'll do it.
Is such a reductive way to look at them as characters. It discards whatever they bring to the story overall. What makes these characters in the Fatui interesting is the depth they have because they're fallible and prone to mistakes, and their ability to change for the better or worse. And it's that idea that despite their different ways of looking at the end goal, they all want the same end goal that the Tsaritsa has. That's fascinating. I want to learn more about that. Are they really badly written just because they don't fit a very narrow lens of the story? It may not be your cup of tea, but that doesn't mean you have to piss in someone else's tea while saying that we shouldn't have enjoyed the tea to begin with.
Based. I'm with him on this one 100%. Just like, can you stop being a killjoy? I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it, but you don't have to shit on me for enjoying it though. Like, lucky you. That's why I always give the disclaimer, hey, if you did enjoy it, lucky you, I'm jealous. And I'm serious about that. Look, because here's the thing. Why wouldn't I want to be able to enjoy something that I can enjoy for free? Think about that. Just think about that. I feel robbed. I'm robbed of being able to take advantage of enjoyment that I can get for free. Interesting, huh?
Another common point of criticism I see is that people have it in their heads that Hoyo wants to push a traveler harem agenda. This take is incredibly short-sighted.
A bit. I mean, we're not going to deny it. It's definitely there. I mean, it is what that's what Dawe has suggested for investors, right? That was his pitch. So we can't just necessarily ignore it. Yes, it's not completely it, just like in Withering Waves, but the harem is very present. Oh yeah, 100%. But it's not what the story is about, for sure.
Since people take a few interactions with a character and turn it into something it's not.
Oh yeah, people's headcanon and shipping are full force in these gacha games.
Shipping culture does this in general a lot, but it's so odd when it comes to Traveler Harem. The people who hate it are the ones who talk about it the most. People swear up and down that the Columbina moments in the Archon quest prove she's romantically attracted to the Traveler, but even in that same quest chain, she has more chemistry with Sandrone and Arlecchino, and later refers to the Traveler as family. It's grasping at straw.
Traveler got family zoned. Oh no, I'm crying.
Straws in presenting it as factual evidence. There are so many ways to look at these characters' relationships. But if you make a post about this character is bad because they pushed Aether Harem on them, you'll get thousands of likes without any substance behind that take. It's complete nonsense. There is only one character I can think of that has overt romantic attraction to the
Citlali, the cryo girl from Natlan that synergizes with Mvuika, that one.
Traveler that's come out in the past 2 years, and that's Citlali.
Yes! Ha! I know, I'm up to speed, kind of.
That's the only one I see credible evidence for. But you can see these relationships as however you want. To fix
Kinda like in Withering Waves, it's Yang Yang. I feel like the Citlali of Withering Waves is Yang Yang. And it makes sense because it's in the thingy. I mean, she's in the cover. She's in the logo, so makes sense.
Fixate on the smallest things and proclaim it's the truth when it so clearly upsets you is weird. It's so regressive for people to harp on characters that they personally don't like and then never talk about the positive. If you don't like it, talk about the things you do like. Traveler Harem is one very small interpretation. It is not the focus of the game, or even the sole focus of the Traveler's relationships with other characters. It isn't even the sole focus of these characters they hate for, quote, being in the Traveler Harem. Implying someone like Citlali only centers her characterization around the Traveler is ignoring her entire story quest where the game explores her loneliness, her immortality, and how she
She's immortal? God damn.
feels about it. Her actions make a lot more sense if you take the full perspective. You don't need to dwell on this part of the game. It's the image of the guy sticking the branch in the spoke of his bike and falling off the bike. The game isn't pushing it in there for you. You are in control of how you engage with the tertiary aspect of this game.
I like what he's cooking here. I'm with him here 100%. Yeah, you are in control sometimes on how you receive media, criticism, what have you. You are. It's like we said earlier with expectations. You having those expectations can get in the way of how you receive things. It's very important. Also, like even, for example, I think the best example I can give is relationships. When you're in a relationship, you expect this and this and that from your partner. But sometimes they don't deliver. So guess what happens? You start to develop disdain towards them. But have you tried different things? Have you tried to see the beauty in them? No. You just try to keep on harping on the expectations you've had. Because expectations are a powerful thing, man. They're very powerful if you're not careful with them. They are. They're good to have, but you want to be disciplined enough to navigate them. And we keep going back to it. You will notice the more... That's why I love these gacha games, man. Because love them or hate them, the reality is they really, really work on your discipline. They really do. Whether you like it or not. Whether it's the predatory practices, whether it's the community engagement, what have you. There's so much work on it, and I like that. I do.
As I say this, though, we face the next problem. The discussion that happens after a defense. The way people talk about this game has reached a point where real discussion is stifled in favor of bad faith discussion. But what do I mean by that? Well, I mainly refer to when someone says something positive about the game or defends the game, and the immediate response is to stop defending the $1 million company. As if the only discussion about the game can be centered on how much money it makes. A defense of something is not a statement that there's nothing wrong with the product. But by shifting the topic to attacking their credibility, it immediately shifts the conversation from what's actually being discussed.
Based. I like what he's painting here. I hope he can still acknowledges the presence of the Hoyoshills and why people go about it that way. At least he can acknowledge where that sentiment is coming from. And that it is a valid sentiment that people are throwing.
Ad hominem.
We are back at ad hominem again, appealing to feelings of prejudice rather than intellect. Okay.
A logical fallacy that attacks the individual rather than the argument itself.
Yeah, because that's what people do when they can't attack the argument because it just makes too much sense for them. They attack the people. They character assassinate the messenger, so that way it makes their message seem worse.
If someone is a Hoyo shill, so what? They like the game, and that's not an inherently bad thing. It's not a good argument. There's no actual substance there. And even if it is true, you have yet to explain why their argument of defense is flawed. You're just being hateful. The argument is never focused on the bigger picture. It's all about fulfilling an agenda and fighting the big bad company rather than understanding that maybe this doesn't fully appeal to you. I'm not saying that the
I like what he said here. He just typed it, which isn't a bad thing, but the critique presented isn't about fundamental issues
big
Genshin
bad
has.
rather than
There are a lot more serious issues than a tsundere, 100%. 100%. Like the lack of a skip button in the 50-50 system and the lack of currencies and generosity. Yeah, those are serious issues. Yeah, those take precedent over that shit, that's for sure. Like, why y'all being so mad about that when you should be mad about that?
understanding that maybe this doesn't fully appeal to you. I'm not saying that
As in the 50-50 skip button, etc.
the critique can't be about the things that they dislike. But if these trends are as constant as they say and they hate it so much, then why continue to talk about the game?
I think people see that a lot because it's incredibly negative and very negative emotion inducing. And that's typically what the algorithm pushes a lot, and also encourages tribalistic behavior, which people like to do online because it enables them to let loose a little bit. Because whether we like it or not, a lot of us are still somewhere within ourselves in middle school in terms of sometimes we just want to talk down on people and stuff like that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like, again, discipline. I'm above that. I feel like I left that behind me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't like to be a troll from time to time where I feel like I'm back into middle school, but I feel like I understand where these guys are coming from. It's why I say always, I don't hate them. I feel for them in the sense of how lost they are as individuals currently. And that I wish I could just hopefully be just a voice that can help them wake up a little bit from the slumber that they're in, to be a guiding light to the lost boat in the dark sea they're in. That's what I'm trying to do out here. That's why I'm so understanding.
The people who talk like this always talk about Hoyo games. It's the primary thing they play. Some go as far as to say it's one of their favorite games.
Yes.
But they only talk about the negative, never the positive. That's
Yes.
not critique, that's criticism.
Also, something important as to why this also keeps happening, people will always focus on the negative more than the positive. We see this a lot. Like, if I give you a painting and it's completely white and I just put a bunch of black dots, guess what you're going to focus on? You're going to focus on the black dots, because that's how we do things. We like to look at the odd and the negative, and also it's more emotion inducing, and we like that shit. We are emotional creatures. We love spikes in emotions and emotions that make us feel things. Oh yeah. And negativity tend to do that, because getting positivity is trickier than negativity. But it all comes down to approach. I feel like if you approach things a little more positively, you will have more positive results and more positive experiences. But that's just my experience, though. But it is hard to maintain, though. I'm not gonna lie, because the world is tricky. The world definitely can make you regret even feeling happy one day. Damn.
And it isn't criticism carefully informed by an analysis of the work, it's a personal opinion presented as fact. We're talking about art. There's no objective way that you
Based. My man.
can talk about art. And
Yep.
of course, criticism
It's all subjective. But I feel like some things, there's a general consensus about them. Therefore, they kind of become objective due to how society is. That's just how people like to tackle things.
can be fine, but when the only thing they do is complain, and then people suggest that maybe it isn't for them, they lash out and say, how dare you? Why don't you want Genshin to be good? And it becomes bad faith. It becomes toxic. It's a misstep of how to approach art. It's the idea that this isn't for me, but it should be. Here's all the things I want changed, and if you disagree with that, you're being toxic and willfully obtuse to how bad the game has gotten. You don't look at Picasso and say, this is bad, it's not realistic enough. Realism isn't the point of Picasso. Saying it should be realistic is bad criticism.
It should be realistic enough. Because if it's too realistic, well, I'm trying to escape that degree of realism. Yeah, it's kind of why I like fiction. It's like, damn.
It's no longer Picasso at that point if you want it changed to be real.
And this is the problem with general type of statements. This is it. Oh, I need it to be realistic. No, you don't. You don't even know what the hell you want. You want it to be more realistic, but not too realistic. Yeah, sure, we can be there with you. But for it to be as realistic, as realistic as possible, you're in the wrong genre, buddy. You're in anime. Go play GTA. That's as close to reality as possible. You go and play that if that's what you like. And something actually more dangerous is reality's perception is different from person to person, especially what people want from reality. And since they can feel like their criticism can have a control in the reality of the game they play, at some point it starts to become more of a selfish thing, more so than a critique towards the general good, if that makes any sense. So because of that, I feel like the best approach to media really is, once you recognize what type of environment you're in through the media you're consuming, well, if it's not for you and you feel like it's lacking in certain departments, there are other types of media that provide you with that particular thing that you're lacking over here. You move over there. I like more vegetables in my sandwich. You're gonna go to a place that does more vegetables in sandwiches instead of harping on it in a pizza place. Yeah, pizzas don't do sandwiches. Oh, they don't do sandwiches and no vegetables. Oh, snap. Okay, maybe that place does sandwiches. It's just meat and sauce. No, I need more vegetable, or it's like one piece of lettuce or one tomato slice. No, it's not enough for me. I need more green, more stuff on my sandwich. Well, you go to that other place. You look for it. And you'll find it, because we have everything. That's kind of the beauty of living in the modern society. Because you have everything. You just need to look for it.
That doesn't mean it's objectively bad. There is so much beauty in this game. So
True.
many interesting and fun characters if you just let yourself be open to new things.
True.
Maybe it isn't what you expected, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Based. I love what he just said here. Yes.
But I don't see that when I look at critiques. All I see is people say, I love this game, but this is bad, and I hate this, and I'm miserable playing. They spend a
I wonder who he's talking about.
long time talking about everything they hate about the game, and at the end of it, I have no idea how they actually feel about it. You're allowed to critique a game you love, but when the critique only explores the surface level elements, leaves out deeper information that ought to be
Or self-inserts. Thank you very much.
in a critique, it cannot be presented as fact. It's bad criticism. It sucks to fall out of love with something that you were once obsessed with. I empathize with it greatly. I used to play Dead by Daylight for years before quitting. I know what it's like to suffer from the sunk cost fallacy.
Oh yeah,
But
me too,
that
man. Me
doesn't
too.
mean you get to misinterpret things and present it as a fact. At that point, subjectivity is no longer implied. You're saying a false.
Okay, I have to pause here real quick. This monkey is beheaded, and it's fighting beheaded with its head as a weapon. Oh my god.
statement. But by pointing this out, I've accepted that there's people who will look at me and say, I just want my yummy Hoyo slop, and I don't care about the quality of the game. Where's my waifu, Hoyo? If you argue
Exactly.
like this,
That's a faction in the community. Yeah.
I urge you to listen to what is actually being said here. And
I feel like what he's failing to recognize here is the different types of player base being here, and every type of player is gonna prioritize an aspect of the game more than the other aspects of the game. Then they're gonna prioritize different aspects of the game more than other types of players, and it creates this because that's their main focus. And I think also our duty as we navigate the space and we look at people's opinions about the game or the media we like, whatever the form it takes, it's just this one is just Genshin, is for us to recognize that we do have different types of tastes and perspectives and desires on what we want with the media, and that what made this person fall in love with the media might be different to what made me fall in love with the media, and so it goes. And so people are just going to keep wanting the things that is more good for themselves more than the others, because ultimately, whether we want to admit it or not, most of us are selfish douchebags. We're all narcissists. We're narcissistic creatures. We are. That's just a fact. Ain't no one can tell you otherwise. I spent a lot of years coming to terms with that, man, because we're told and we're taught that you shouldn't be that narcissistic, but we are. That's our default setting. That's our factory setting, man. And so once you recognize this, I feel like it makes things very much so easier for you to tackle and tolerate different types of approaches towards whether it's critiquing or desiring more and different things from the game. and for the game to keep focusing on this particular thing more so than the other aspects of it. So yeah, I like, dude, let's just face it. Narcissism, individuality, people, selfishness, people basing their opinions at an individual level plays a massive part in the behavior you see online and what is being criticized right now. That's just a fact.
Instead of the short-sighted goal of winning an online argument. I don't want to say,
What? Well, how am I supposed to get my dopamine hit, babe? I need that during that online argument, babe. I'm unhappy. That makes my day. What are you talking about? I ain't got no girlfriend or nothing. I need to feel good about myself.
just let people enjoy things, because the very obvious counterpoint is let people hate things, but you don't have to start calling people hoyoshills anytime they defend anything about the game.
True.
Like, come on, nobody in their right mind.
Because that's what I said at the start. This can come off hoyoshilly. It does. But we are yet to see. And see, I think that is the best approach to have. It could be what you typically see and hear, but then again, we're not sure yet. So let's not jump the gun and wait and hear. And the more you listen, the more you hear, it turns out, no, that's not what makes a hoyoshill. Though, like I said before, and I'll say it again, a lot of people move through life with a black and white type of approach. They like to put you either this or that. They don't want to keep breaking down your behavior, what you're saying, etc., to reach the conclusion of what exactly you're trying to do. That's too much effort. It makes life, and more specifically socializing, a lot more complicated. So why not just, I see people saying this equates to hoyoshills. That's just easier. That's just, think about it. It's just so simple. We are literally playing life at normal mode. Well, hard mode if you happen to be, you don't have that good hand on spawn, if you know what I mean. But a lot of people playing on easy mode, and they can easily do that they don't necessarily care about others as much as we care about being correct. They don't care. They're like, okay, to me, I think I'm correct because that's just my approach to reality. My reality is this. Therefore, I am correct. And here's the thing. There is some... I mean, if you can't, if you don't have the tools to navigate life in normal mode, you can stick to easy mode. But I feel like it is up to us also, in the ones that have the ability to discern and see through that, to navigate accordingly. So that way we do not create any friction with people that unfortunately do not have the capabilities to keep up with individuals such as ourselves. I hope that makes some sense.
Mind is saying Genshin is devoid of criticism. Genshin is a gacha game that is deserving of criticism on its own. But that doesn't mean that there can't be aspects that are well done. These critics that act like they're the only sane person in the world because they're saying negative things about the game is tiring. Newsflash, people...
No, it isn't. Just too serious with you. What was your name again? Malkin. Just too serious with you, man. I need to calm down. Just let him have it, man. Just let him have it. That's what I do. Just let him have it, bro. That's too much. Here's the thing, man. I will not allow them to make me feel that way. I will not. It's up to me. I have to shield myself from them because I recognize what they are doing, what they are, where this is coming from, and all the package. I know everything there is to know, at least for the most part. I'm good. I will not allow you to get in the way of my enjoyment because you happen to be a little more miserable or, well, not advanced enough in your gameplay in the game called life to get in my way. No. I feel like that's just, you gotta shield yourself, man. You do.
People have complained about Genshin since 1.0. People have talked about the fan service. People have complained about Genshin since 1.0. Things about the game is tiring. Newsflash, people have complained about Genshin since 1.0. People have talked about the fan service and the annoying anime tropes. It's existed since the very beginning.
Yeah.
This isn't a new thing. I can only speak for myself, but my love of Genshin doesn't ignore...
Well, people love to see new things being introduced. So when they see the things they've already seen before, it's like, oh, they're taking advantage of this instead of them doing something new. You know what I mean? And people are waiting for that next new big thing. Yeah, they are. And so when they see something that they've already seen before, it's like they might complain a bit. Rightfully so. I mean, at some point, some things do get tiresome. They do. Especially if you see them a lot. Because for me, I can appreciate anime tropes more because I stopped watching anime as much. But back in the day when I used to watch anime a lot and I came to Genshin, I was rolling my eyes when I saw that stuff. But I can tolerate them now more because I'm not consuming anime as I used to. And especially, I don't consume certain animes that have those anime tropes.
Or these flaws. I love it in spite of them. The culprit of all of this, in my eyes, is player expectations. Discussions
He's on to something.
and theories over much anticipated parts of Genshin has been around since, well, the dawn of Tibet. With how big the fandom is, there are many creative ideas around.
What is this game he's playing? This ape has a centipede as a spine? Jesus.
These mysteries in the game. The majority comes from casual players of Genshin. These people who have not spent a lot of time sifting through the very convoluted methods of storytelling in the game, such as books and random NPC quests, or just even random NPC dialogue. This can create a lot of dissonance between fan theories and what actually ties into the writer's vision for the story. It can create even grander expectations based on vague information. In the case of something like No Man's Sky on release, it absolutely was the fault of developers for releasing an unfinished game with broken promises. But no such promises were ever made for Genshin characters. This was all something people assumed or outright made up. And that's fine. You're allowed to have expectations. You're allowed to be disappointed when they don't pan out. But that doesn't mean Genshin lied. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. And you may not like it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I made 2 videos talking about...
No, everything should be about me. Because, again, I'm a narcissistic douchebag, and I'm the MC. Everything's about me. That's right.
About Columbina and the expectations...
Here's the thing. You will notice that the only problem with that type of criticism is the fact that they attack people that enjoy that particular thing. Criticism is totally fine without that part. You can criticize something. You just applaud people and you feel for the people that, you know, can enjoy it. And by feeling for them, I mean, you're kind of low-key jealous. I'm not going to lie, but maybe that's just me, though. And that's it. You keep it pushing. But these are my critiques. All in all, if you enjoy it, good for you. Lucky you, bastard. But that's it. I feel like people will be more open to that than you saying, oh, I don't even know how y'all can enjoy this. Oh, they're doing this or that. This character's a PDF. Shut up. Jesus.
Around her. But one point I didn't mention is that everything people thought about her was a theory. Derived from Merriam-Webster, a theory is defined as a scientifically acceptable or plausible general principle or body of principles based on data and offered to explain a phenomena.
Yes.
But it isn't fully proven. You cannot say that people are being obtuse because they disagree with this theory. Scientists are less confident about physics than people are about Columbina being rewritten. It's baffling to me. And can we talk about how weird people are being to Emmy Lowe? People really dislike her voice portrayal and are using it as an excuse for hateful roast comedy. That's not critique or even criticism, you're just being a bully.
Yes.
There are 3 other languages you can select if it matters that much to you.
And I will say something again. I will always keep saying it until the day it ends. They're using this so that way they can act like obnoxious douchebags. So that they can feel better about themselves. So they can grandstand. So they can feel like they are battling an unlosable battle. Like they cannot lose because they are morally correct through this sentiment in this particular part of the community that they're taking advantage of. It's that pathetic, yes. Or more dangerously, I need to be a total douche to people. I need to do that through something, or else people will recognize me for what exactly I am and will dismiss me and not take me seriously. I can't have that, or else I won't get attention. So I need to hide behind something. Yeah, it's that bad.
Hating on someone's voice for no reason other than the fact that they don't like it. That's not constructive criticism. They're hating on someone's voice for no reason other than the fact that they don't
there is a reason. I just explained it.
Like it. A lot of these content creators on TikTok and YouTube mock her endlessly, but they're putting their voices out there too. If someone mocked their voice, I'm sure they'd be upset as well. Another thing that baffles me is the insistence that all the designs be different, but the one region they went out of their way to have the most varied design elements, people called it bad. They complained.
You can never please everyone. That's the number one rule for any type of media. That's why you generalize as much as possible, but you understand that you just cannot please everyone. And the audience should also realize that. Some things are for me, some things are just not for me. When I see certain characters, I immediately recognize that some of them are for me, some of them are clearly not for me. And that's totally fine. Not everything should be about me. But again, we go back to what I said earlier. Lots of people are narcissistic, aren't they? And this proves it.
About the lack of cohesion. They said it was ugly. Then, when Genshin returned to form, suddenly everyone's talking about how much they like Natlan designs and dislike the same old reused designs of detached sleeves. It's hypocrisy. It doesn't provide anything positive to the discussion. It's a regressive, self-defeating loop. But the worst of all, in my opinion, is the idea that Genshin should stay the same. The dev team admitted that they were condensing the story and that they weren't happy with it. They left too many threads open and they wanted to change that. They had the humility to admit that they needed to spread the story out with Nodcry. That's really big of them. We should applaud that transparency. It's what we've been asking for.
True.
There are a lot of people who want Genshin to stay the same as 1.0. Anytime more technology is introduced, the first thing people say is, this doesn't feel like Genshin. Or even when a new region releases with a different aesthetic, people say, this isn't the Genshin that I started with.
Well, for me, I feel like I can speak on this because coming in, I was looking for a medieval experience. I was. And Genshin was that. It was anime too. It was perfect for me. When they started introducing machines and stuff, it definitely started to feel a little off-putting. It did. But I feel like we were introduced to it slowly but surely. And let's face it, in a world where there's magic and stuff like that, and flying dragons and everything, a little bit of technology isn't necessarily that bad, all right? It's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
That's because it isn't. Games are allowed to evolve.
Absolutely.
Inazuma is widely regarded as one of the worst Archon quests in Genshin because of how it tries to tackle a complicated subject with a very simple approach that the previous regions had. Imagine how much worse Sumeru would have been if everything was condensed into the 3-act structure. Fontaine as well. And Nodcry especially with a staggering 10 acts. The developers also explained their own approach and that Genshin was never meant to be a full high fantasy genre. It's consistent. We've seen this since 1.0 with the Ruin Guards. Like, hello?
Yeah, true. That's actually technology. Fudge. I totally forgot about that. True. Based.
They fire heat-seeking missiles.
Yeah.
And this was an ancient civilization that no longer exists.
True. True. Oh my. Based. True. Nice one. I forgot about there's ones that fly. There's actually some that fly, come to think of it. Yeah, you're supposed to shoot them down with your bow. You need bow characters. True. Now I remember why I was okay with technology. Now I remember.
I wonder if some nations have more advanced technology now. Ultimately, what it comes down to, from what I understand, is wanting the good old days back. Nostalgia is a powerful drug. I don't want to blame anyone for wanting a simpler story or a simpler time. I was 16 when I first played Genshin. I'm 22 now. I have to go to work and pay taxes and worry about paying off my car.
That's right.
Part of my fond memories was the sense of newness when I played Genshin. But that newness can't last forever.
Exactly.
It can be replaced by a different type of newness, but it won't ever be totally fresh anymore.
Absolutely.
That's what I think people are missing, the simpler time. Genshin did introduce itself as a more simple story to ease people into it, but it's so much more than that now, and the seeds for that have been there since the very beginning. It's fine if you don't like it now. Power to you for not playing a gacha game. But if you continue playing and make yourself miserable, then what's the point?
And at what point should you ask yourself, maybe I'm doing this to myself and not necessarily the media that I keep going back to? Some things deserve a whole lot of leave alone once you recognize what they are and you recognize the effect they have on you.
The sunk cost fallacy should not be adhered to if the game genuinely makes you angry.
Yes.
The tree that this game is has grown so much. We shouldn't burn it down now just because the color of the leaves aren't what you want it to be. If you don't like the color of the leaves, you can say that without burning the tree down.
True.
The people who insinuate the fans of the game are just dumb gooners have to stop. They are actively changing the perception around Genshin and
some of them are. So here's the thing. They use these socially shocking minority within the community to frame that it's all of them. Yeah, because it's not shocking, you know. It's, gooners isn't necessarily socially acceptable. We understand it, but if you go out there on the street and act like a gooner, people don't take kindly to that. Hence why a lot of the anime fans call people that just come in and critique some anime tropes normies. These normies. It's a defense mechanism, because they understand as well that if they were to act the way they do in these forums, etc., publicly, they will be shamed for it. And so they try to do the opposite to get back at the establishment.
At best, and at worst is actively seeking negative engagement. They present a shallow interpretation of the game and its characters and act like there's all there is to it. Then say that anyone who enjoys the game for what it is stupid and willfully obtuse to how bad the game has gotten. And whenever you say anything in defense, they immediately switch to the whole...
I always say, I said it before and I'll say it again. I'm low-key jealous of people that still can enjoy Genshin Impact. Because there's just another gacha in your roster. We all know it. And we all know it. We all are actually looking for more gachas to add to our roster of games that are fun and enjoyable. We are. That's why we look forward to new gachas. Because we're all for new gachas. Because them bitches are free. But, well, as long as you navigate them properly. But the reality is, it does suck that I can't enjoy Genshin anymore for me. I do. I'm sad about that. I am. Because I was really invested in the story. I was really invested in the world, the characters, and everything. But it just didn't... I felt like I was enabling shit behavior as a gamer, and I wasn't for it. And also, it made navigating the story incredibly difficult with the lack of skip button and recap. This is not for me. Even me watching new animes today, I like you, I'm not. Sometimes when I recognize some parts are just filler, I would just like 5 seconds or 10 seconds start skipping until we get back to the cooking, the foreshadowing, and all that cool stuff. I do. I feel like the more busier we get, the less tolerance we have for certain things, and I feel like I'm at that stage. Hence why I really need a skip button to even try Genshin Impact again. I do.
It's my
It's
opinion,
important to me.
Why can't we criticize the game when that is not the argument that is being presented? People are attempting to engage in the discussion and actively inform them of information they didn't touch on in case they weren't aware. The defenders are not saying that you can't dislike aspects of the game. These people cannot handle criticism, but they are some of the biggest and loudest critics of Genshin, and they're proud of it. If you dish it, you need to be able to take it too.
Based. True.
But they don't. They act superior to everyone else because for some reason they think they're the only people who see the flaws that this game has.
I've talked about why this is happening. If he's watching this, I hope that was of help.
You search Genshin critique on YouTube, you will find dozens of videos just like this, and they all assume they're the only people who critique it. Discussion goes both ways.
No. Well, that was back in the day. I feel like Tectone, around Tectone days, that was true. Yeah, it was just Tectone. And then people started waking up to what Tectone was saying and started having a similar feel as the game progressed. And we have what we have now. That used to be the case around Tectone days. That's not the case anymore. Them days gone, boy.
To act like we can only provide...
Only Tectone could say that, and it was accurate. I think that only works for him. Beyond Tech, I don't see how anybody could claim that. Like, what?
Negative criticism and can't engage with it any other way is toxic. It's dishonest. And it's reached...
Well, it is dishonest. For the reasons I've mentioned before.
A boiling point where we talk about how people are weird for liking characters that are quote-unquote fetishes. We've completely lost the plot. It is incredibly insulting to assert the only reason some of these characters exist is to appeal to certain fetishes. It is such a narrow-minded view of what these...
It's an aspect in which they used to sell that. That's not the whole package, but it is a detail that makes people, people that have those fetishes will appreciate that character more. It's a little something for them. Nudge, nudge.
These characters are. But it doesn't matter, because these people who say it are angry, and they'll push
But even people that don't have those fetishes can still appreciate that. For example, Sparkle. Sparkle in Honkai Star Rail, it was a feet fetish. We all know it. A lot of people were calling out the feet fetish. I still like Sparkle. I don't have a feet fetish. I don't necessarily care about feet. I still like Sparkle because of the thematics and how she is portrayed in the story and everything. There we go.
This opinion is absolute fact when it is just an opinion. They have no right to tell people what they can or can't enjoy. I just want the bad faith, shallow discussion to end. I do not want to see
That can't end because it's a deeper psychological social problem. Unfortunately. This is just an example. You can go to multiple types of spaces and in their communities, you will see some of this stuff. Especially in a community that enables this, where there's a lot more of those people there. Oh man, you're gonna see a lot of that. Just like we see a lot of more wokeness in Hoyo and not necessarily in other gacha games. That's why. It's because a lot of them are in Hoyo. Therefore, you can easily have a butterfly effect. Like you just say something and they will follow up attack on it. And there you go. Now it's this big thing. Yeah.
Any more videos where people say they love this game, then rant about how much they hate it and that they wish they didn't play it anymore, then bait pity by refusing to admit that they've fallen for the sunk cost fallacy. And by the end of it, I have no idea how they actually feel about the game. I know.
Wait. Let me hear that again.
I just want the bad faith, shallow discussion to end. I do not want to see any more videos where people say they love this game, then rant about how much they hate it and that they wish they didn't play it anymore, then bait pity by refusing to admit that they've fallen for the sunk cost fallacy. And by the end of it, I have no idea how they actually feel about the game. I know this won't stop those types.
That's because there's other reasons to play, as mentioned before. Yeah. You're going to have to ask those uncomfortable questions about that particular person, which I know can be the same complaint you have to them as like you're trying to character assassinate them, but it's not necessarily character assassination because that is the main reason why this is happening. Sad, but uncomfortable too, but here we are. They making it that way.
Types of critiques, but I want to say my piece on this so I have something to refer to. Moving forward, I plan on talking about each region in Genshin in a retrospective. I have a lot to say about each region. A big issue of that is finding a way to talk about each region and whether or not I should account for what came after it. I think it'll be a case-by-case basis. Generally, what comes after matters less, but what comes before always does.
I think it will be cool to look at them from a retroactive perspective, like considering what came later, this makes more sense, etc. That's kind of cool. I love replaying a game, but this time I understand the foreshadowing because I have information of what things to come. I think sometimes that's pretty cool.
But I'll have an answer for that at another point in time. So,
that's just me, though.
Bye for now. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And remember,
oh,
99%
man.
of gamblers quit right before they win big.
Oh, man. Well, we may be on to something there. I don't know. Gamble and spend money responsibly, man. So anyway, that is a very, very good video, man. It is. It does come off, when you look at it at face value, judging a book by its cover, it can seem Hoyoshili. And once again, considering what we see in the space, it can come off Hoyoshili. This is a Genshin fan responding right. We need more of this in the space. Yes, we do. And it needs to be applied to every single part of the community, whatever the game you're behind. This is clean. This is good. I'm all for it. W video, W creator. I wish we could have more of him. He could just pull up and, be here. I, for one, would strongly encourage individuals like this to be here, because you will notice he did say he has a job. He pays taxes. He has to keep up his car, etc. A normal person and a responsible adult. I wish we could have more of those. That would be nice. And clearly, you can see as the way he's speaking, in the way he is breaking it all down, we clearly need more of them up in this bitch. That's for sure. But that's going to be me, though. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Be seeing you.